Hey everyone, welcome back to another stock market open live stream. Today we are going to see how the market ends up actually reacting to this jobs data, which is quite frankly terrible. And I understand there are distortions in the last report, potentially due to the hurricanes or otherwise, but BLS couldn't even use that as an excuse and didn't even give it as an excuse. In fact, they said it wasn't a problem. Boeing layoffs and strikes could have been an impact, but I don't know that anybody's going to pick up those jobs. And so that's the problem. Now these sort of jobless levels are going to contribute to the quits rates decline. Quits rates declining, that for sure. But job openings level were declining even more. I don't know. I just don't see the good data. I mean, I know stocks are enthusiastic because of this impression that the Fed's going to save markets, but every ounce of me wants to be bullish, but I just can't do it. I just look at this market and I'm like, the data is actually bad. It's actually turning bad. And the good data we're told there is actually turning bad too, because it's just revised. Steve's back saying, go long gold. I mean, gold's done fantastically. What's gold doing right now? 27.71. It's up 81 basis points right now. Interestingly, the 10-year Treasury right now, it was down 6 basis points when the report first came out. Now it's only down 1. That's misplaced. I think that'll, trend down very, very rapidly as this data starts getting digested, because I just don't see anything good in this data. But then again, who knows? Maybe next month they'll surprise us again and say, hey, everything's fine. Yeah. You can't blame manufacturing plummeting for the last 5 months on hurricanes. That's pretty bad. You also had an increase in permanent job losers. Also not good. I just posted a video with some extra details on the main channel, but it's a mess. We got 6 minutes to go to the opening. We'll sit and watch the opening together, but I'm pretty disappointed in some of these numbers. I actually thought they were going to come in hot, because it's right before the election, and they always seem to come in hot, So it's not what happened though. I also did post a little Shrek house hack video, and encourage you to watch it if you haven't already. So yeah, I encourage you to check that out. Big fan of what we're doing over at House Hack, and probably going to close our offering on that sooner than expected, sooner than the December, 13th deadline that we have right now. But we'll see. So anyway, what else? Let's see here. Nick T tweeted about the decline in permanent job losers. You've got the prior revisions we've seen. We talked about those. And first negative print since 2020. Wow. On the private side. Yeah, that's crazy. Not a great jobs report. So I'm curious to see if the election odds are going to swing on some of these numbers, but who knows. So, okay. All right. Let's watch how the market moves today. We've got what do we got here? Nvidia up 1.34. You've got Apple down only about 1.7 here. The Qs are up 44 basis points. Tesla's up 74. Amazon's up almost 7%. I don't know how it holds up in the face of joblessness, honestly. What do you got? Redfin's up 2%. Yelp's up 2%. Hut's up 2%. Root's up 5 again. And Lemonade's up 1. Palantir's up 1%. Well, I guess we'll see how some of these things hold on. I think Supermicro is also now under threat of delisting. It was down another 11% yesterday. Now it's down 4% in the AM. Let me see what that news was on the Supermicro delist. I think they need a new auditor, otherwise they get delisted. I'll have to find that again, but I think there is a risk. I'm pretty sure there is. Delisting risk, likely contributing to 11.97% decline yesterday, and a 5% pre-market decline now. They need a new auditor. All right, so we'll see what happens there. And in the meantime, we'll watch the cues here. We got about 3 minutes to the opening bell. I guess I'll pull up SPY as well. And, IWM would be interesting to watch too. So let's do that. And I'll just get the cues back up here. There we go. So we got all our indices right here. Yeah, people still trading the dead horse super microcomputer. Yikes. Yeah. Non-accredited, we're working on it. It's not something we can do rapidly. So hopefully by, January. So stay tuned. But yeah, we don't know how long we're gonna do the 5% yield. I think a lot of people are also confused by it. I mean, a lot of people have invested, but a lot of people are confused by it because they're like, "What? How does it have a yield and and all the upside of a stock with downside protect?" It's a really good structure, in my opinion. But yeah, read about it over at househack.com. You could read the PPM and the paperwork. So anyway. Okay, let's go, let's see what's going on with the queues. Voldemort, it's not entirely the case, but stay tuned for, an update today. There's just sort of like a tax trade that's going on, and there'll be an email on that later today. So, okay, what else do we have here? Ooh, Apple now dropping down to about 2% here. Let's see here. Yeah, look at that. Apple dropping a little bit there. And then you've got Nvidia. Nvidia's trying to climb into the open here. All right, let's see what's going on. All right, here we go. Listen up to the bell.
The opening bell is brought to you by Nuveen, a leader in income,
Nuveen.
alternatives, and
32 basis points right now on the cues as we go into this. A little bit of a sell down into the open.
Let's get the opening bell here in the CBC Real-Time Exchange. On the big board, Everest Construction Group celebrating its spin-off from MDU at the NASDAQ recent IPO. WeRide, a Chinese developer of, what else? Autonomous driving technologies.
Can't get enough of that. I can't wait. Chinese companies trying to raise money here. At the same time, they treat our companies so poorly. I think it's an anomaly that should be explained by some authorities, but we never get an answer to it.
There was a time where you did not like any China IPO in this country.
No, and I'm pretty down on them. I still believe in Alibaba because it's got American financials. But I do believe that, and maybe Baidu, not Pinduoduo. But I just think that this is...
all right,
these
Jimbo, Bimbo. All right, here we go. So a bell is open. You've actually got Super Micro rising, Q's rising, IWM. Trying to figure out a direction here, but this has been sitting at 220 forever. And then you've got the Q's actually trying to rise right now. Look at that. And Apple's at 2%. Amazon's still holding on to 665. Apple or Tesla here at that 252 level. Really interesting to see the market trying to negotiate up in the face of this sort of jobs report. It just shows you how kooky the market is right now. So we'll watch this. Then let's see here. Let's see what other notes we have. So let's see here. It's possible some folks are saying that markets are just discounting this entire jobs report as fugazi. But then again, the households report reads through that weather. But let's see here. So comparing the positive and negative signs, you had the strong ADP report. You had an expansion of manufacturing in the New York Fed report, which was the first time we saw that in a while. And Richmond Services moved into expansion. So you've had some positive info. And even though the job cuts were the worst since, pre-COVID, like 2009, They did slow from the prior month in the Challenger report. On the bad side, continuing claims kind of keep sneaking up. The long-term continuing claims, you're almost at 1.9 million. Dallas Fed services in contraction. Kansas City manufacturing in contraction. Richmond Fed manufacturing in contraction. It's interesting. So we shall see. Still have the election risk markets are pricing in as well, in both directions, really. I mean, everybody's got to try to make their bet. Okay, then Nvidia's got its full 2% there. Okay. Let's see here. Q's now up 50 basis points. IWM still sitting at 220. Let's zoom out for a moment, see how long we've been sitting there. We have been sitting here. Well, once in 2021 we sat here at the 220 level, and we've been sitting here since the summer basically, just sort of not going anywhere. Enphase is up, Amazon's up, almost at $200 again. And Nvidia wants to keep climbing. Look at that, Supermicro is actually climbing. It's impressive. Markets overall broadly not pessimistic here. So be broadly enthusiastic. Coinbase up a little bit after yesterday's disaster. Royal Caribbean's giving a little bit back. Wingstop's up 3%. Wow. And Bitcoin at 70,400. Now this fell to quite a line over here. It fell to our 69K level. It always seems to go to our lines. And somebody here says IWM to 250 soon. Maybe. Somebody's asking about Meta. Meta falling a little bit right now. And you're at 563 on Meta. Topped out at just over 600 on a high. Let's take a look at Intel's movement, because yesterday it was up like 13% in the afters. It's only up 4% right now. So it looks like you got some profit taking happening here. Somebody says this is a Goldilocks report. How is this a Goldilocks report? I think you're joking. I'm gonna assume you're joking. So okay, let's see what the doomers are saying. All right, let's jump in over here.
In the world would be like, yeah, I'll take it. But the bar is high from investors because of this house.
Intel's only up 2.9% now. It's being sold.
And also put the AI bit to one side. If anyone can anywhere in the world, just put it to one side. There are other things you can do with cloud computing, storage, running other software platforms. So the dynamics between the three will be closely tracked from this point.
Ed.
Okay, here come the red candles. You just had some red candles on Nvidia, the Qs, Microsoft, Intel. They all just had red candles. Tesla just had some red candles.
Of a tough month of October. You're walking into a bid into September. You have to ask if this bid is a strong one, given it was off the heels of tough jobs numbers. What are you seeing out there?
So it was tough, but actually at a certain point up until yesterday, though, obviously with yesterday's declines, but in October, usually it's known as the most volatile month compared to the other 11 months if you go back through history, but actually bucked that trend this past month, kind of like what we would have seen in September, usually the worst month, but the S&P 500 was higher about 2%. But actually yesterday, the S&P 500 snapped its longest streak of comp since 2021. So it actually went 29 sessions without a decline of more than 1%, which obviously that ended up happening yesterday. But obviously we're going into a pivotal week next week with the election, Fed decision, earnings obviously continuing. And then we do have a looming 13F deadline coming up too. But when you look overall for earnings, when you actually exclude energy companies, S&P 500 earnings growth actually double digits. It's around 10%. So those pre-estimates for earnings season were about 4%. If you look overall, it's around 7%. But it's really because of more of the commodities-related type companies. Obviously, we had Exxon and Chevron report earlier today, but really a lot of that drag is due to energy.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. Of course, we'll be speaking to the Exxon CEO, Mike Wirth, or Chevron rather, in just a couple minutes. We also had Exxon this morning. We have Halliburton
Yeah,
next.
all right, that's kind of boring. All right, so Q is really trying to hold on to its 40 basis points, but Google is negative. It's trying to recover out of this. Meta's still down 50. Intel's only up 2.6% after that earnings report. And then Supermicro back down to about 4%. NVIDIA holding on to 1.5%. Apple down 1.5%. Enphase, nice move up today. Enphase has a good trend up right now. Amazon's got the trend down. Leading Etsy down as well. Oh, interesting. Royal Caribbean down 31 bips. Qs are just all over the place. Fascinating. What a day. Crazy jobs report, huh? Let's see how yields are moving to now that the market's open. And then let's see what market expectations are. And also the yield curve. Yeah, you're only down 1.7 basis points on the 10, which is crazy. And if I go pick the 2s, 10s, I actually think there's a chance you like this report signals your sort of bottom in the bond market. But that's my opinion. And then you've got 14 basis points inverted. So you're still far away from the 50 to 90. All right. Let's talk about the Roblox squeeze, please. What's it at? I mean, it's been sitting at 40 forever. What's it now? 50? Yeah, 51. I mean, it had great earnings. Popped up. Let's listen in here for a moment.
That you can deal with if you're a business person. There are people that, frankly, you've probably been speed dialing and talking to for years. And so Tony West is the brother-in-law of Vice President.
Somebody here says construction companies going out of business soon. You know, we actually see that as almost like an opportunity for house hack. I mean, it's terrible, but the more the construction environment slows down, the better deals we get at house hack, and the easier it is to get competitive bids for renovations and everything. It's kind of great. What did you do last night? Did you know? I guess you didn't see the YouTube video I posted. That's all right. YouTube's not because I took a vacation. It's gonna take a little time for you to start seeing all the videos again. If you want to see all the videos, make sure to go to download the Meet Kevin app. that'll get you all the videos. But yeah, this is interesting. So somebody says Enphase is going nuts. Somebody else says BlackBerry. Yeah, Enphase is up about 2% right now. And if you look at BlackBerry, I mean, I don't know what there is to look at. It's moving 86 bips. So, buy some homes in Tampa. Yeah, we might consider it when once we finish our fundraise, we're gonna go shopping again, and yeah, we'd love to get over towards the East Coast. So it'll be fun.
Trying to figure out what's going on in business. You never thought they're Democrats. What you thought was, I got to call them because I got to be sure I'm right.
Interesting. We do have a statement from the Trump campaign about the jobs number today, Jim. This jobs report is a catastrophe and definitely reveals how badly Kamala Harris broke our economy. On the flip side, of course, there's Fitch today, which says the Fed's likely to place a high weight on the headline number, and they go into the reasons why.
I knew that this would happen very quickly. I don't blame President Trump's people for saying it. There's a simplistic notion about what you can do. But, you know, like Liz Cheney firing squad versus that, I start weighing and say, well, I don't know, maybe there's a person where we have a house in Bucks County. Maybe there's a person who's going to say, you know what, the economy's really going downhill. I've got to vote. I got to switch my vote. But I don't see a lot of switchers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a look at Drudge today. The percentage of native-born 25 to 54-year-olds who have a job is higher now than it was at any point in the Trump administration.
No, this is a period where we have great employment. We have prices coming down.
Yeah. How do you say that on a day of a jobs report like this? I don't know, Jimbo. That seems a little odd, but whatever. I think the employment report is trash. But, then again, the market seems to continue to be happy. I mean, you just had another 20 basis point move up in markets. Both IWM and the Qs just moved up. Got some green candles over here. Supermicro's only down 2.8. Nvidia's back over 2%. Enphase at 3%. Tesla's at 1.3%. Markets broadly happy. So, Kevin, you're missing Lemonade as the best hidden small cap. It's not hidden. I've done a lot of fundamental analysis on them, and sorry, I don't invest in money-losing companies. So, and the money losing has no trajectory of stopping at Lemonade. So, in a recession, you're gonna have some real poopy doopies. It's just not good. But yeah. Yeah, and then if you have questions about the HouseHack bonds, feel free to email us at ir@househack.com. We do have an expiring code as well today, so if you want to get any allocation alerts in Stocks and Psych group, go check that out over at meetkevin.com. You can bundle up with some of the other courses. We've got a larger price increase coming for this weekend going into November here, so it's sort of the last chance to get in at these prices. Take a look at that at meetkevin.com. Okie dokie. So, so far it's doing well. I mean, yields are coming down. Markets are happy. I mean, maybe one of the reason the Enphase is going up and markets are happy is because yields are going down. That might prove short-lived. So we'll see. What else do we have in terms of news? Just Apple on their tepid forecast. People enthused about Amazon. Apple's only down 1.5% though, and some of the new products they've released this week I thought were really good. Like, I actually think the little Mac Mini they released, phenomenal bargain of a deal. I mean, I feel like everybody should buy that just to even have a Mac. I think it's great. Okay, a little bit of a rotation there on Enphase. You may have topped out on your gains on Enphase. Amazon's still doing pretty well here. And we'll see if the market can sort of hold on to this. So, what else we got here? What is that? Flat CapEx with increasing revenue can only mean one thing. Well, I mean, which company are you referring to? But yeah, I mean, if you're spending less on investments, you're increasing revenues, it's great. The question is, do you need more CapEx spend to keep growing revenues? Or are those revenues going to peter out without it? What else? Okay, what's this?
Well, any monthly or quarterly production is a function of drilling activity and when you bring wells online. We've got a strong track record here. We've grown the Permian production at a 15% compound annual growth rate over the last 3 full years.
Okay. Bye.
Hurts or kills infants, and they won a case that they were supposed to lose, and the stock was over 120 when they started having these litigation. By the way, rank it Ben Keyser too, and I will tell you that stock is dirt cheap, and that I think that the day of the plaintiffs taking it to Abbott over, because the FDA has come out and said, listen, we see no link. They wouldn't let the FDA's statement in that was a rigged trial, and yet the defense still won. What does that tell you about the rest of the country? If I were someone who was a plaintiff on Abbott Labs, I would be begging to speak to their general counsel now and say, look, I want to come to the table. And if I were their outside counsel, and if I were their outside counsel, I would say, pound sand.
Right.
You had your chance.
We are watching Abbott and Reckitt big time today. Dow up 330. ISM's coming up at the top of the hour, but we are getting some manufacturing PMIs. And for that, we'll get back to Rick. Hey, Rick.
Yes, S&P Global. Now, these are manufacturing PMIs, and they're October.
This was a slight beat.
Which means we replaced the mid-month read at 47.8. Usually the changes are small. Not this time. 48.5. That jumps to the best reading since July. And at 411, 2-year yields are now higher on the week. At 427, 10-year yields are higher on the week. And contemplate this. Right after the last September jobs report, we were prior at 370 in a 2-year, now at 412. On a 10-year, we're at 385. We're currently at 427. Point I'm making here is the market didn't take much back on that big jump in yields after the strong SEP report, which means it has a very good opinion about the current report. Squawk on the Street will return after.
Yeah, you got PMIs coming out in like 15 minutes. We'll probably cover those in the course live. I don't know that there's really so much else to cover. You've got, I mean, the market's very stable right now, and it's somewhat surprising in the face of some of the data that we've seen here. So we'll see how it transforms. But yeah, super micro still bleeding out there, 5%, and Qs are still up from where we were when the jobs numbers came out. Jobs numbers came out, and we were at about 45 to 50 basis points on the Qs. Tesla's dropping. Yeah, you're right. Look at that. That's odd. A little bit of a... someone pressed the sell button. Robinhood's going down another 1%. Huh? All right. Pretty crazy. All right, folks. I gotta run. We'll jump into the course member live stream soon. Thank you so much for being here for the market open. Enjoy your day. And if you got questions on those courses, email us at staff@meetkevin.com. Questions on the bond raise, IR@househack.com. Thanks. Bye.